Hello and welcome back. I'm gonna do a little reading vlog of for this week. Yeah, and I'm just gonna be sharing my time reading. So that said, I will share the 3 books that I'm going to be reading and some of what I will be doing, and I'll be checking in. So the books that I am reading this week, I have 3 books that I will be reading this week. The 3 books that I will be reading this week are The Tale of Genji. This is a long-term project I have that I'm working on over the next 3 months. So each day I'm aiming to read about 14 and a half pages. I did make myself coming undone. My washi tape is not very sticky, but I do have a little reading schedule that I've done for myself that I keep there so that I know based on the date about where I should be. The second book that I will be reading is a book club pick. I'm in a book club with a couple of my family members, and we are reading Clotel, or The President's Daughter by William Wells Brown. And we have 7 chapters, I believe, that we need to read. So basically, I'll be aiming to read about a chapter a day. I can read ahead of that. Usually, what I like to do is start the week by getting all my book club reading out of the way, and then whatever time I have, I'll do my free reading with. So I might only aim to read 1 chapter of this over the next day, because technically I could do 1 chapter a day, but I'll probably just plow ahead and read, as much of this as I can get in. But it'll probably depend on how it's going. We haven't started the book yet. I just have my bookmarks in there ready to go. So that will be my second read. The third book that I will be reading is Adam Bede by George Eliot. Now, I do have a confession to make. I have read some of George Eliot's works before, and I usually have not liked them. I have tried Romola. I have tried Middlemarch. There's a lot of people who like Middlemarch. I just wasn't one of them. So after that, I then tried Romola, and I don't know. Like the beginning of the story just really wasn't catching me, even though it was written slightly differently. So right now, I believe it's on my at risk of being unhauled. And so instead of trying to force my way into Romola, I decided I have a couple other George Eliot's books, so I'll try those. I don't know why I keep trying her books and don't just accept that I don't like her, but I think people just rave so much about Middlemarch and her writing that I want to just keep trying to see if there's something of hers that I like. So anyway, right now that something is Adam Bede. But I'm also going to do dice sprints. Again, also inspired by another YouTuber, Becca in the Books. And basically, what she'll do is she will use Pomodoro timers to read or get things done and take breaks. But where the dice comes in is she will roll a pair of dice, and whatever number that comes out to, she will multiply by 5, and that will tell her how long her sprint is or how long her Pomodoro is for. So I will also be doing that. I guess I could share um, how long I will be reading. So I have a pair of dice here, and I will roll my dice. I guess I'll do it right here on top of Adam Bede. I should probably use the Tale of Genji because it's a bigger book. Let's see how this goes. Oh, it worked. So I think you can see I got a 4. So I'll be reading for 20 minutes. Um, that may or may not get me through the first chapter of the book. We will see. Chapter 1 is the workshop, and yay! Chapter 1 is only 7 pages long. So I should definitely be able to get through that in the 20 minutes I have. And then I'll check back in and let you know if I'm going to keep reading this or unhaul it. Okay, I'm back, checking back in. So I have finished chapter 1 of Adam Bede, and okay, thus far, of the 3 or 4 different George Eliot books that I've tried, I don't want to abandon it after chapter 1. There is a lot of dialect in this book, so I feel like this is like sort of flip-flopping what happened with Middlemarch. Middlemarch, it was the prose that I thought was dry and that I wasn't liking, and that was becoming a slog for me. Chapter one of Adam Bede, I felt like it was the dialogue that was like, I had to really think about what they were saying to like get the dialogue to make sense to me. So I'm not too concerned about that. Usually that's something, like when you read Dickens or something like that, that after a while you get used to the dialect and it's not an issue. So far, so good. It's, I mean, it's the first chapter, so clearly not much has happened, but I feel like I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, there's been no major red flags, no major turnoffs. The prose in this one is just fine. Like, I don't have any issues with her syntax. Right now, as things stand, opening exposition of this book, we have Adam, we have Seth, we have their workshop companions. Um, Adam is very focused on work. He should work, up to the very last minute and through it even. Seth is, sort of absent-minded, it seems. There are implications that he is the more maybe emotional of the two, and that he can do work, but that his mind is also elsewhere. Yeah, so there's some interesting, topics and themes that are already starting to come very quickly to the forefront. So I'm really interested to read this novel. I might get into a little bit of the introduction to see what's going on, but basically, I think I'm gonna take a quick break and stretch my legs and then roll and read some more sprints. And I'll probably check back in either if I roll a double on my dice and end up switching books, because that's what you do when you roll a double. And if that happens, I'll check back in and mention what book I'm switching to and catch up on where I am with Adam Bede. Otherwise, it'll probably be a little while before I check back in because. Okay, just doing a real quick check-in. I'm still working through Adam Bede. I am now on chapter 3, and it's going pretty well. So I'm kind of excited about this. Like, this might be a George Eliot that I can finish. Um, so I wanted to check in because I wanted to make this comment before I forgot. There are a ton of biblical allusions. So I would highly recommend, having a book that has notes, especially if you're not particularly familiar with the Bible and Bible stories and what they might be referencing. But thus far, 3 characters that are really standing out are Adam Bede, who the book is named after. It's very clear that his name is Adam. He's being named after basically the first male that God created in the Bible. And that I find it interesting because in the Bible, Adam was created, and what he was put to do was to work the garden and work the earth. That is something that Adam's already very focused on. It's like, well, we're here to work, and this work is part of, how we bless things and that kind of thing. In the Bible, Seth is actually Adam's third son. So Seth originally has Cain and Abel. A lot of people know that story. I won't get into it. But one of them dies, the other one gets exiled, basically. And then Adam and Eve have a third son, Seth. And Eve hopes that Seth is to basically be the son who survives and who receives all the blessings and sort of carries on the family line, and he's sort of like the replacement of his 2 brothers that went horribly wrong. And, he's supposed to now be the good son. So that's already kind of interesting, take there. And then the third biblical character who has come up so far is Dinah, who in Adam Bede, Dinah is a Methodist woman who goes around preaching. She's basically an itinerant preacher. The interesting thing about Dinah and her name is that in the Bible, there is a Dinah. She's Jacob and Leah's daughter, but she goes off and she leaves the area where they're all living, goes off a bit, and she ends up being seen by a prince of a neighboring area, and she gets raped by that prince who falls in love with her and who then later wants to marry her, and this starts this whole like insular battle. So I'm really wondering if Dinah's name is an indication of a bit of foreshadowing of what might happen in this book. That's my guess right now, is that something goes on where things go haywire with Dinah, and she ends up with somebody else or gets attacked by somebody else, or somebody else comes into the picture to ruin Seth's plans, and that creates a lot of the suspense and action in the story. So I have no clue. I haven't read the back of this basically at all because, like I said, classics are horrible about giving spoilers for the book. So I'm really curious now to see where this story is going. I'm happy that I'm enjoying it. I will keep going with this. One of the things that I decided to do since I finished all my housework and that kind of stuff is during my breaks, I'm now, as you can see, scenery has changed. I'm now upstairs in my guest room. While I'm taking a break from reading, I'm going to be getting my physical therapy and yoga in to help with my back and neck. So you can see down here my yoga mat and my exercise ball over there. So that's what I will be doing for the next, few hours or whatever. It's only 8:30 at night, so I'll probably be up for a while. I'll probably talk on the phone a little bit with my husband. He's out of town right now. All right, I'll see you when I next check in. Okay, so last check in for the day. I have my tea. I'm now in bed. Um, I'm drinking uh, Clippers tea. I've never heard of them before, but it is a lavender and chamomile tea. Love myself a good sleepy time tea. Love tea in general. So this is hot. I'm trying to move it so that I can move my other arm. So I also have myself a little snack, just some saltine oyster crackers. I don't know why. I was hungry and wanted something salty, and this is the only thing I have. Um, I've still been reading Adam Bede. I've had a couple of sprints. I'm actually making some good progress in it. So I'm really happy about that. And also, I think I'm starting to realize what it is about George Eliot that was bothering me in her other books, and specifically in Middlemarch, is that she will get you into the story and there will be stuff happening with the characters and you'll be getting to know them and they'll be moving along and that will all be fine. The dialogue will be great. The interaction with the characters will be really interesting. What's happening in the story will be really interesting. And then she will break that up, and suddenly there will be like a page where she just goes into straight prose. She will moralize or philosophize or sermonize. Um, and depending on what the topic is, I may or may not be that interested. And I've learned from reading other Victorian novels, from fantasy novels, that kind of thing, that I'm not a big fan of politics in books. Like if there's village politics or world building politics or that kind of thing, it just doesn't tend to be a subject that captures my interest. I think in Middlemarch for me it really broke up the pacing of the book, and yeah, she just went on about a topic that I just really didn't have a lot of interest in. Um, and so I had to hear all of her, or at least all of the narrator's thoughts about the politics of what was going on and that kind of thing. And I'm just not interested in that in my stories. It has to be done really well and in a way that I personally like, which I don't know which way that is. Either way, she didn't make it work for me. Um, what I'm finding in Adam Bede is she still moralizes, she still philosophizes, she's definitely like sermonizes. So all of those elements are still there. I think because the topic is different and it's about religion, which I find a more interesting topic to hear somebody's thoughts on as opposed to politics, I'm enjoying it. So I guess for me, what it's coming down to is that because she will have those long narrative breaks in her books, I really need the themes that she's focusing on in her books to be themes that I find interesting. So I'm thinking I might look up what themes are talked about in Ramala, because that was another book of hers that I DNF'd. And depending on what the themes are, I might give that book a second try. I also own Daniel Durunda by her, and same thing. I might look at the themes in that book. And I think so long as Politics don't play a heavy theme, I should be fine. So I guess to me, theme matters. That's the whole point of what I was saying. And I took a really long time to say it. Now I'm probably going to have to edit a lot of that out. So anyway, I'm just happy that I found a George Eliot that I like. I don't know why I cared, but I do. So and then isn't this the cutest little sheep, cutest little lamb? um, so I just started chapter 5. And so this will definitely be my last check-in for the day, and then I will check in tomorrow as I go through my day. Which will probably look very different reading wise. And I'll explain how I'm going to go about my reading tomorrow. It'll still be between those 3 books, but you will probably see the other 2 come into the picture. Whereas today, apparently, was just a Adam Beat-a-thon. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow morning. Okay, good morning. So it's the next morning, and it is way too early for me. It's 8 o'clock. Um, been up for at least the last hour, but just trying to get with the program. I'm going to start this morning by starting Clotel for my book club. Like I said, I like to start my week by getting my book club reading out of the way. So I'm going to continue doing dice sprints today, but I'm going to be going back and forth between Clotel and Tale of Genji, which is over there. I have my little reading basket off to the side. I also have my little notebook with my list of things to do for the day. I guess that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing all day today. So I'll be checking in as I go. I'll probably just be doing my going back and forth between my dice sprints and my to-do list for a while. I guess I'll check in if I end up switching to the Tale of Genji. All right, I will see you when I see you. Or I guess you'll see me when you see me next. Okay, so I'm back. It's about 12 o'clock now. As promised, I had lunch. So, what did I do? I read quite a bit more. Uh, Happily, I got through the 7 chapters that I was supposed to read for book club for Clotel. Um, and wow, yeah, this is going to be a hard read. It's a really good read. I highly recommend it. It's really interesting how the book is put together. So thus far in the book, we are introduced to Clotel. We're introduced to kind of the atmosphere of slavery in America, and she is taken to market. Her sister, and her mother, and at 16, she is sold, and the story is starting to go on from there. And it just kind of shows how families can be split up, how they have no say in these things, and the different directions they end up going in. So, Clotel, she ends up having a young white man who actually falls in love with her, and she gets sold to him so that she can become her own woman, and emancipated in theory. We'll see how that works out in the long run. And she ends up, going and living with him. And, she's okay with that. Her mother's thrilled about that because that's kind of seen as like, the best thing that could happen to you as a slave in the South. So, but of course, they can't get married in the eyes of the law. So she's really this guy's mistress. But they live together in a home sort of out in the middle of nowhere. Her mother gets sold in Mississippi. So both her mother and sister get taken off in the middle of the night by the slave trader. The mother rather, gets sold in Mississippi and is put on sort of a harsh plantation. And then the younger sister has now gone off to with the slave trader and is now in Louisiana and has just been purchased by a Methodist priest, I believe. So this has a lot of really interesting historical facts intertwined in it. He's including things that he has seen, things that are newspaper clippings, and he brings them all together in this, sort of story. So there's a lot of things in here that are just hard to read. I wouldn't say he gets very gory or that there's a lot of body horror, but it's just really hard to think about how people treat other people and how blacks in America were treated and how it was justified, particularly through, you know, religious beliefs. I am tabbing it. The point of my tabs is just to remind me of things that I want to talk about with my family as they come up. So, since I have finished my book club reading for this, I will put this down and not pick it back up until when my family meets for the book club on Zoom at the end of this week. So that means that now I'm going to go on. I'm going to continue doing dice sprints, but I'll be going back and forth between the Tale of Genji and Adam Bede, which is my other sort of free reading that I'm doing. So I won't switch to Genji unless I get doubles, so I'll keep going right now with Adam Bede. So, like I said, it's about 12 o'clock, so I have a couple hours before I'm home with anyone, so I'm definitely going to try and get more recording in now and I'm going to get some reading done. I still have my to do list items that I'm working on. You can see from the black that I've crossed quite a few things off. Probably the next thing that I'm going to do is go for a walk because I like to get a walk in before everybody gets out from school and work. And then I also need to read my son's essays. He's applying for college, and I told him I'd read through his essays just so he'd have another pair of eyes looking at it. So, yeah, that's it for now. Oh, I'll go ahead and roll while I have you on here. So, like I said, I like to see people roll dice and play games. So, ooh, okay. I was not expecting that. So, as you can see, I got a double. Um, 2, 4, so 8. So, I'll be reading for 40 minutes, but the doubles mean that I need to switch books. So rather than continuing on with my free read, I will be switching to the Tale of Genji. And actually, this is probably a good thing. I am behind on my scheduled reading of it. I'm supposed to be doing about 14 and a half pages per day. I think I'm about 30 or 40 pages behind, which is about 3 days behind where I'm wanting to be. So it's rare when I do dice sprints that I roll doubles. I don't know why, but what I should know that that means is that I'm probably going to be reading the Tale of Genji most of the rest of the day, which is good because that will help me catch up. The only extra rule I have with that is that if I am caught up to date on where I'm supposed to be with the Tale of Genji, I can switch back to my other book, but we'll see if that happens because I got a lot of reading in that to do. So I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna go and read for Tale of Genji for 40 minutes and get my walk in, get some other stuff done, get some more reading done. Okay, I think this is it. Like, I don't know what happened, but I think I'm burned out for the day. For the day. So I've read some more in Adam Bede. I'm on like chapter 7. I'll probably read that on and off the rest of this evening, but I don't know that I'll have any comments to make on it. I'll read more of the Tale of Genji as it comes up. And I think that's pretty much all I have going on. So that's been basically the last 24 hours for me. I think I started about 8 o'clock yesterday or so, maybe 6 o'clock, maybe the same time. So I guess I've done a 24-hour reading vlog. How about that? So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I'm still really new at this. I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. So if you've made it to the end, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. I don't know. Do whatever it is you do. And I just hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you've read any of the 3 books that I'm reading and how you enjoyed them. No spoilers, though, because I'm still at basically the beginning of them all, including the 400 some odd pages I've read of Genji so far. So, yeah, I think that's it. So have a great day and evening or whatever time it is, wherever you are. And I will see you next time. Bye.